Dust and Neon manages to combine the fast-paced action of a twin-stick shooter and the replayability of a roguelite seamlessly. Featuring a robot cowboy with a mission to collect bounties on opposing robots, the story is largely an excuse to go out there and shoot things. While losing your gear upon death can seem disheartening, knowing that a better set of equipment may be just around the corner is enough to try again. Luckily, the gunplay and pacing of the game manages to keep the players interested for its roughly 11 hours worth of playtime. Dust and Neon is about managing both speed and precision. Its level design can attest to this, as most of the missions last about 5 to 10 minutes and can have you looking for a safe on a train, blowing up generators, to good old-fashioned clearing up of bad guys. One thing that Dust and Neon does better than most is making the player feel like they are progressing as they play the game. My runs from when I started largely relied on me taking cover and picking my shots to avoid taking unnecessary damage because my health pool was fairly small. My later runs had me running with reckless abandon enemies with a shotgun, gaining health for each enemy that it took out. Being armed with a pistol, shotgun, and rifle, the player must choose their firearm that they think best fits the situation. Scattered across the levels are also chests, which contain one of these 3 firearms that have different stats than the ones that you currently have equipped. Each weapon also has an associated level and rarity, which contribute to its overall score. This overall score made it fairly easy to compare weapons and is a welcome addition to games like this because it provides an added incentive to keep you looking for better gear. To aid you in your journey, you are able to obtain skill points upon level up, which can increase your max health, max ammo, and increase certain stats. The game does have its flaws. I played about half of the playtime using the native touch controls and the second half with a controller and found the controller played substantially better. It was incredibly evident during one boss which requires very precise movement. I don't know whether it's because I have fat fingers, but I often found myself pressing the switch weapons icons when I intended to move. If held, it would pull up the weapon wheel, which stops your character from moving altogether, causing quite a few of my deaths. Another is enemy aggro between some settings. Sometimes nearby enemies come out of bars and attack you. However, if you manage to clear the surrounding area and you walk into said bar, before they come out, you'll find a group of trigger-happy enemies already aimed at you, ready to pepper your mechanical character. Lastly, for the most part, my game ran incredibly smoothly. There was one notable instance which had an enemy glitched into a wall, causing me to run around said wall trying to shoot them as they were necessary to clear the level. Luckily, with enough persistence, I managed to take them out. Given that the game is tied to having a Netflix account, it is a shame that others will be missing out on this well-crafted experience. There are a few notable tips that I feel that will make your experience a little bit more enjoyable. The first is making sure that you use cover, especially in the early game. This can be done just by standing next to surrounding terrain. This will provide an added layer of protection, which will be invaluable if you're receiving fire from several directions. Another is making sure to clear the surrounding enemies before you get to chests in the area. This is because enemies do not stop when you are picking up loot, so you can find yourself surrounded by enemies in an inopportune spot if you are not careful. A pleasant surprise, Dust and Neon manages to create a gameplay loop that is both fast and enjoyable. Not having this game on my radar in advance also created a situation where the game easily exceeded any expectation that I had going into the game. While dying carries a steep penalty with it, I never once felt upset enough about losing my gear that I wanted to quit the game entirely. This is a feat for any roguelike game. Another thing that I must mention is that the ending rank requirement was a lot higher, making me feel like I had to grind in order to get access to the final boss. I say that if you have a Netflix account, you should give this game a try. If you don't, it may be worth the price of admission alone, given that it is only one of many games that are available to you. For a list of the current rankings of games that I've played, take a look at the description below. To not miss any future mobile game reviews, be sure to subscribe to Gaming in the Moment.